this video, I'm going to be talking about how the hindgut is partitioned in a process called cloacal septation. So to get ourselves oriented, I have drawn here the caudal half of the developing embryo. This is at about week 4. In yellow is the endoderm, red is the mesoderm, and then blue is the ectoderm. We're going to be focusing in on this tube. This is the gut tube, specifically the hindgut. And the terminal portion of the hindgut is going to end in a small cavity. And this small cavity is called the cloaca. We can see this channel here is called the allantois, and this is entering into the ventral part of the cloaca. At this caudalmost portion of the cloaca, we can see a portion of the ectoderm and the endoderm where they meet, but there is no intervening mesoderm. And this is called the cloacal membrane. This is a temporary barrier at the caudal portion of the cloaca. Now, so we're at week 4. Between weeks 4 through 6, a wedge of mesoderm is going to start pushing into and growing downwards into this cloaca. And eventually it is going to fuse with that cloacal membrane. The name of this mesoderm here is called the urorectal septum. And the function of the urorectal septum is essentially to separate this cloaca into an anterior chamber and a posterior chamber. And this occurs between weeks 4 through 6, with septation completing weeks 6 through 7. And I've redrawn that out here. So here's our urorectal septum, and then the urorectal septum, when it meets with the cloacal membrane, it's going to fuse with it and form the perineal body. The perineal body is an important attachment site for perineal muscles. The perineal muscles function in defecation, urination, pelvic organ support. So we have this anterior part of the cloaca and this posterior part. The anterior part is now called the urogenital sinus. And then the posterior part is the anorectal canal. This separation allows the digestive tract to open separately from the urinary and reproductive tracts. That cloacal membrane can now be subdivided into the urogenital membrane, and right here we have the anal membrane. At about weeks 7 through 8, the urogenital membrane and anal membranes will break down via apoptosis. This creates the separate anal and urogenital openings. The ectoderm is going to invaginate, and this will form the lower 1/3 of the anal canal. And then the endoderm, the upper 2/3 of the anal canal, is going to be formed by endoderm. And then the junction between these two is called the pectinate line. And then the breakdown of the anal membrane opens the anal canal and anus. The urogenital sinus is going to form the urinary bladder. Here's our urinary bladder. And the urethra. In males, the urethra is going to elongate, forming that penile urethra. You'll also notice that a portion of the endoderm is going to form the lower 1/3 of the vaginal canal. The allantois eventually obliterates, and then after birth, it forms the median umbilical ligament. So in summary, with cloacal septation, the terminal portion of the hindgut ends in the cloaca, and the cloaca undergoes a process called septation, where the urorectal septum, derived from mesoderm, will form the urogenital sinus anteriorly and the anorectal canal posteriorly.